Shabbat shalom, Shabbat shalom, Mike.
Shabbat shalom. Shabbat shalom. How you doing, Ak?
Shabbat shalom, Shabbat shalom, praise to the Most High.
Shabbat shalom. Shabbat shalom. How you doing? Salakia. That was a YouTube.
You good, you good. So Shabbat shalom to all the brothers and sisters on here. It says there's about a handful of them on right now. But to those of you who are observing Sabbath, and if you're not, still having a good day in the spirit. Still hope you're having a good day in the spirit. Can you hear me, Ak?
Yeah, it just froze up a little bit right there.
Okay, Con. If it happens again, I'm gonna go ahead and do what I had to do last time and just go ahead and take it off my screen or take the video off.
Come.
Kama Shabbat Shalom, sis. Hope all is well with you. So today's lesson is going to be titled, Are You Taking Care of Your Temple? Right? We're going to talk about a few different things, amongst them gluttony, your health, and having a sound body. Right? This is a topic that, to be honest, I don't really think I've seen too many brothers, if any, really teach on it. So I thought it was a good one to go ahead and go over because it does affect us all, right? And even though the spirit is supposed to come first, obviously our body is the temple and we're supposed to take care of our bodies. So we'll start by giving all praises, honor, and glory to the Most High, Yahweh, in the name of his Son, our Messiah, his only begotten Son, Yahweh Shai, who the world ignorantly calls Jesus Christ, who died for our sins so that we can have repentance and Most High willing make it to the kingdom, right?
Come on,
So
praise.
you want to go ahead and say anything to start out?
Kala Yahweh Bahasham Yahweh Shai Hamashiach. Definitely the water for having me on your platform here. I've been looking forward to this one, just because I know it's going to be edifying, not just for myself, but for everybody who tunes in. So Shabbat Shalom if you guys are observing the Sabbath today. So yeah, the water up.
Con. The water for joining is always up.
Definitely.
Shakir Abdullah, Shabbat Shalom. Akisha Sammy, Shabbat Shalom to you sisters. Hope y'all are having a restful and peaceful one. Most High willing in the spirit, and we can get some precepts out and get some edification for y'all and for ourselves. Because even if you've gone over, like we said many times, even if you've gone over scriptures, you've read them a few times, every time you read them, when you're searching the scriptures in sincerity, the Most High can open up your understanding even more to certain things, right? It's like sometimes I'm teaching with my family, and then we'll read something that I've read before, and guess what? The Most High just adds to the knowledge that He's already given me, right? So we're gonna go ahead and start in First Corinthians 3:16 and 17, which most of y'all, I'm sure, are familiar with. First Corinthians 3:16 and 17.
Come on. This is First Corinthians chapter 3, verse 16 and 17. Know ye not that ye are the temple of God, and that the Spirit of God dwelleth in you?
So
If
we are
any
the
man
temple of the Most High, right? Salakia.
go.
There's a little time gap, but so it says that we are the temple of the Most High, and the Spirit of the Most High dwells in us, right? So just like back in the church, in probably all of us, in some way, shape, or form, were a part of Christianity. Salakia. I'm gonna go ahead and turn off my camera real quick so we won't have interruptions.
Con, you're good. Shalom, Akisa. Shalom, Shakir, Kristen. Shalom, Shabbat Shalom.
Can you hear me out?
Khan, I can hear you.
Okay, all praises. So, like I was saying, it says, "Know ye not that ye are the temple of the Most High." So, back in the days when we were part of Christianity, Catholicism, Islam, whatever denomination or false doctrine we were part of, I guarantee you, we treated or acted like the church building was the temple of the Most High, right? In some way, shape, or form, we felt that way, and we respected that temple to an extent more than we respect our own bodies, right? We wouldn't be marking them up, writing on the walls, like how some of us have tattoos. We marked up our temple. You wouldn't have done that to the church building, right? We wouldn't have put all this nasty stuff we put into our body in the church building, right? So go ahead, Art.
If any man defile the temple of God, him shall God destroy. For the temple of God is holy, which temple ye are.
So if any man defiles the temple of the Most High, then the Most High will destroy them. For the temple of the Most High is holy, which temple ye are. So we have to remember that our temple is temporary, but it belongs to the Most High, right? It in the bigger picture, it belongs to the Most High. So if we're defiling our temple and we're not keeping it holy, we're not making it set apart from the things that defile it, then the Most High can destroy it. And like we said many times before, there's many different ways the Most High can destroy your temple. He can give you illnesses. He can give you cancer. He can make you um, not have a sound mind. He can make you lose your memory. He can make you lose limbs, lose a foot, lose a leg, legs, lose the ability, lose motor skills. Right? There's many different ways the Most High can destroy you. So we have to keep this in mind when it comes to our temples, that we have to take care of our temples to the best of our ability. And there's many things in society nowadays, especially in captivity, that will defile our bodies, right? So the first thing we're going to talk about, of course, is food. And if you could give me Ezekiel 4 and 13,
Khan.
Ezekiel 4 and 13. So one of the things, obviously, is what we eat, what we're putting into our bodies, right? Even some of the things that we think may be healthy or we think may not be a sin to eat or to consume or to drink, just because it's not a sin doesn't mean that it's not going to harm our temples, right?
Khan. This is Ezekiel chapter 4, verse 13. And the Lord said, even thus shall the children of Israel eat their defiled bread among the Gentiles, whither I will drive them.
So we have to remember that the food that we eat, much of it is defiled, right? I had just this week, I've had to reach out to a few brothers just because I see some of the things that they post on their stories, and it's like I believe it was this morning, early this morning, a brother posted something. I was like, "Hey, Ak, you know how that has carrageenan in it, which is seaweed, which to my understanding is unlawful." And then he was like, "Oh, damn, I didn't know that. Thanks for the heads up. I'm gonna have to start making my own of this, right?" Another brother had posted something with protein shakes, and I was like, "Hey, Ak, I used to drink that. It has mono and diglycerides. 90 something percent of mono and diglycerides come from pork. They come from pig." He was like, "Man," he just put a bunch of like emojis, you know what I mean? And so we have to understand that just because something may seem like it's not a sin, it may seem like it's lawful, doesn't mean that it is lawful, because our bread, which the things that we eat, is defiled um, wherever we're scattered amongst the Gentiles, amongst the other nations of people, and they purposely do this, right? like I told you, I believe a few lives ago, when I go and when I go to the store, and my rib and my oldest daughter are always on that. My youngest one too, but not as much. Every single thing we're looking at, they're looking, okay, nope, carrageenan, monodiglycerides, gelatin, pork, pork casings, right? There's some
Mhm.
sausage, turkey sausage, and they'll say 100% turkey sausage. We bought one sometime months and months ago, and then we got it home, and it says it has pork casing, but it's
Def-
advertised as 100% turkey,
Wow.
right? So, is there anything you've come across lately that you found out didn't have or had something bad in it?
Not necessarily. I have come across. I came across new information that I have um yet to fully dive into. That I'll bring out, and I'm not sure if you've seen it. It does pertain to the temple. Um, but it's more so around the laws of not mixing the fabrics and what physical health benefits that has on your body. Because you know, I'm sure that before coming into the truth, even we would talk about things that we were into, kind of like frequencies and vibrations, right, and all of that stuff. And I used to be big into that, and I came into this bit of information about how um wearing 100% cotton, outside of the truth, wearing cotton actually has a lot of health benefits, if unless it's mixed with other fabrics like plastic. It lowers your state of being. But I don't I'm not I haven't really researched it too much to be 100% certain of that study. But I mean, the Most High is the greatest architect. So there's a reason why he did all these things. But I did come across that, and it's not necessarily pertaining to what you're talking about, the ingredients, but I did come across that, and how we should be taking care of our temple. So, but yeah, coming into the truth, marshmallows was the biggest one for me, because I had a sweet tooth for marshmallows.
Con for sure. There's actually at some HEBs. I know y'all don't really have HEB, but
Mhm.
it's basically like a Walmart or something, and they have some non or vegan gelatin marshmallows.
Okay.
But it's rare we could find them. I think we found them last year for Feast of Tabernacles, and we haven't gotten any since
Oh,
then.
for s'mores.
Con con for sure. But yeah, going back to what you were saying, I definitely feel you on that too, because there's a lot of materials that isn't good for us, right? And we can get into that a little bit later.
Con.
After we go over this a little bit more. But like the one thing the main thing that I've been seeing a lot lately, at least, is that carrageenan, which it comes, like people say, it comes from seaweed, right? But and it does come from seaweed, but there's such a thing called how was it called, degraded carrageenan. Degraded carrageenan. And as a matter of fact, if you could just Google degraded carrageenan and just see what it gives you, but basically it's cancer causing. It's a known carcinogen. Like in California, it's a known carcinogen, and it what basically it's in the majority of foods, even if they're organic foods. So like Starbucks is one of them that uses carrageenan in almost all of its products. I believe Baskin Robbins, like a lot of ice cream, even in some almond milks, in eggs, some of like the eggs that come in the bottles, like it's mixed already, I guess you could say, in waffles and pancakes and cookies. It's in all types of stuff,
Wow.
right? So if you ever see carrageenan, that's definitely something to stay away from. It's even in pet food, actually. Oh, okay, the water.
Yeah, so I came across this. Um, Basically, carrageenan. I'll read it before I read this. So carrageenan is an extract from red seaweed, commonly known as Irish moss. And then degraded carrageenan is a carcinogenic version that isn't approved, and it's even used to induce inflammation in animal studies, but it is cancer causing.
Con, so when they label products, they don't have to label what kind of carrageenan it is. They just label it as carrageenan. So it's basically like in certain products, it can say organic, like let's say fruit for example, right? They
Hmm.
can label it organic as long as it came from organic seeds, right? So let's say you, Jomar, you grow an organic apple tree, right? And then you start your own company, and you have you take the seeds from those apples, and you start growing a whole bunch of other ones, but you give those trees a bunch of pesticides and all this stuff, right? But the seed was organic, so in most states you could still label that as organic. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Just based off the derivative of the original.
Calm. Exactly. Based off of the original, you can label it as if it was organic. So the same thing with carrageenan. Nobody they can just label it as carrageenan, and you're not gonna know if it's the original, like from Irish moss or sea moss, or if it's degraded carrageenan, which basically is like a GMO carrageenan, right? But the sister said so. Sea moss is not good. So I actually, for years, I have not eaten or eaten any, because I've always been taught since the beginning, when I came into the truth, that it was unlawful, because as it says in Genesis, that you're supposed to eat. These are the things that you may eat in the waters, and it's those with fins and with scales, right? And I've talked to many brothers, and not one brother has brought out scripture saying or proving that is actually lawful, right? There's most brothers will agree that it's not lawful, but the few that say it is can't provide any scriptures saying that it or proving that it is. I would say that. Have you seen anything on
I
pertaining to
haven't.
that?
I remember when me and you were having a dialogue on seaweed, and the way you approached me, you didn't really give me your opinion. You just kind of you set the stage by asking a question first, and my answer was based off
Con,
of it was kind of like the same response you had, you know, because when I came into the truth, I saw a lot of people too on CMOS, but I always played the safe. It's just something about it didn't sit right in my spirit about it, and you know, like I told you, I was like, you know what, I'm gonna play it safe rather than, you know, if I can't prove it, I really don't go too deep into it as far as consumption goes, you know.
con. Same here. My rib, ever since we came into the truth, she's always said the same thing. She said, if you have to question it, then why? Like basically, if you have to question it, why risk it? You know what I mean?
Yep.
So if you can't prove it either way, then why are you gonna risk it? And that's how I see the whole sea moss and seaweed in general. Because even if you look it up, some websites will even call it a fungus. You know what I mean? Or a weed, which we don't eat. Obviously, that doesn't have scales, and so on and so forth.
I had a
Um,
I I went ahead and posted a couple statements from this study that I was reading, talking about chemicals hiding in your organic foods. With some of these, I'm gonna be honest, I didn't know, so that's why I was looking forward to this study because yeah, I'm looking at some of the products on here, you know, and I'm gonna have to be more vigilant. But yeah, it says it's important to note that carrageenan is not digestible and has no nutritional value. It's just used. It says it's just used as a like a thickener. It says it predictably causes inflammation, which can lead to ulcerations and bleeding. Um, think of it this way: I know that drinking regular milk and cheeses, I know those are inflammation causing foods, even though I still consume.
Con.
Sometimes I consume cheese. I always knew from reading Dr. Sebi and looking into what he believes as far as eating foods that are alkaline and alive. I know that a lot of dairy causes inflammation, and mucus in the body. But this carrageenan is in some, like, I'm looking at some almond milks, Starbucks, some ice creams. It also causes inflammation. So, and that was just a simple Google search, So
Con. And that's why, like you said, we have to be vigilant, because I mean, coming into the truth, it's like I was talking to a sister earlier. Actually, she asked me about something, if it was healthy, and I responded late, probably like a day or two later, and I was like, oh, Salakia, for the late response, hopefully it's not too late. But and then I gave her the information on it, right? And she was like, you know what, I did it already, but now I know for the future, you know what I mean? So we've all consumed these things, and maybe you consume some of this today. This is just the first thing we're talking about, carrageenan, right?
Con,
And knowing it causes inflammation, it can lead to ulcerations and bleeding, and inflammation, and um, it's a huge problem with every system in your body, right? Whether it be your joints, whether it comes down to your blood, to your endocannabinoid system, which is another topic as well, but many different things. So anything that is known as a carcinogen, though, is something that can be cancer causing. So you don't want to be putting that into your body, right? And as the brother said, carrageenan is in so many different things. Next time you go to the store, just look at every product you're gonna buy, and I guarantee you, about half the things are gonna have carrageenan in it. If you drink coffee, I see this sister Janet, she said, Shalom, Shabbat Shalom, sis. I recently had a curiosity because I love the mocha frappes at McDonald's, and I look up ingredients and it has carrageenan in it, so no more frappes for me. So Khan, my rib used to like those too, and not only does it have carrageenan in it, but it also has mono and diglycerides in it. If you look up the ingredients to the frappes, which that comes from pork as well, right? So not only does it have carrageenan, which causes cancer, but it also has pork, so it's unlawful to be consuming, right? And like you said, actually, if you could look up, because you said about cheese, I don't know if you remember when we were talking about cheese a while back. There's an article. If you just Google LA Times and put cheese is crack, and there's a pretty funny but informative article on that. If any of y'all want to look it up, I'm gonna type it in what you Google, right? Just put
oh,
LA Times cheese cheese is crack, and it just tells you about how addictive cheese is. It's actually as addictive as many different drugs, right? Because there's an ingredient in it called casein, which is it's in a lot of different milk products, and basically it makes you happy. It releases endorphins, and it's basically like morphine to your brain. So your brain and your body ends up wanting more and more and more of that cheese or that milk product, right? Shabbat shalom to the brother Ivan. Hope you're doing good. You and your household are right. So okay, Khan. So the brother posted, cheese really is crack. There you go. Cheese really is crack, and this isn't. It's a LA Times article, right? I
yeah, I'm on the LA Times website right now. It's pretty crazy. It talks about how pizza And just think about the indoctrination when you're in high school, not in high school actually, grade school. What kind of meal was this? It says that
Con,
pizza. I'll read it. It says pizza unsurprisingly came out on top of the most addictive food list, besides being a basic food group for kids. So with that being said, do you guys remember in grade school sitting down like after like half of a day, you'd go to lunch, they'd give you a carton of milk, and then you'll have like pizza? Like that makes no sense.
con, con. I remember in school, and it's funny because me and my rib would talk about it years ago, and like when we were in school coming up, we went to the same schools, and our favorite thing to eat at school for breakfast was they had the breakfast pizza with the sausage on it, and it was like obviously, I mean, it has pork. We didn't know it back then that it was unlawful, but also like the cheese, it was just so addictive. And then again, you're having it with milk, and then you go to lunch, and then it's probably like a cheeseburger with macaroni and cheese. And then at our school, they would sell the hot Cheetos with cheese. Everybody would be buying that. You know what I mean? It was all just really addicting and just really bad for you and inflammatory too,
Mm-hmm.
right? So let's get a couple scriptures before we keep going. Let's get Sirach chapter 30, verse 15 through 17. Verse 15 through 17. Right? So I definitely okay, so the sister said, I get so scared about what we eat. I just went completely vegan, but I do crave beef and lamb. So now I'm not gonna tell anybody. I know some Israelites that say we're supposed to be vegan. They actually say it's a sin to eat meat, right? Which that's an easy doctrine to cut. But what I would say is if you want to be vegan, that's perfectly fine. But at the same time, like I mentioned a few lives ago, you do have to eat lamb for Passover, right? It's something that is required of you at least once a year. You're gonna have to eat lamb, and the sister says that she craves beef and lamb. That could be because you have a deficiency in iron, right? Because I know people that have gone vegan and that ends up happening, right? They have an iron deficiency and they get real weak, they get pale, things of that nature.
This is Sirach chapter 30 and verse 15. Health and good estate of body are above all gold, and a strong body even above infinite wealth.
Right? So in the world, they say health is wealth. That's in the scriptures. Health and good estate of body are above all gold. It's like what we brought out a while back. If you had $1 billion in gold, right? But then at the same time, you only have a couple months to live, you have cancer, and they can't cure it, all that money is worth nothing, right? So a body is above infinite wealth. You could have all the money in the world, but if you don't have good health, if you're in a wheelchair, how are you going to enjoy that wealth?
There is no riches above a sound body, and no joy above the joy of the heart.
So there is no riches above a sound body. Again, your body being sound is very, very important because you could have all the money in the world. And if you know that your body isn't in good shape when it comes to, let's say you want to go on vacation and you can't even walk around without being so inflamed, your knees, your ankles, your everything, right? Or if you know that your body's just going to give out on you, then your riches mean nothing and no joy above the joy of the heart. And you can't have real joy in your heart, which is your mind. No, if you know that your body is in bad condition, you're going to be worrying about your health problems in some way or another, even if it's in the back of your head, right?
Death is better than a bitter life or sickness.
So death is better than a bitter life or continual sickness, right? I have many family members and people that I know that have continual sickness just their whole life. They have all different types of sicknesses and ailments and health problems. And when you see them, you could just see it. Like they're just drained all the time. They can't even enjoy life, right? It would be easier to die, right? Like 50 Cent said, death's got to be easy because life is hard. And if your body is not in good shape, you're gonna have a hard life. Let me tell you that, right? You have anything you want to add to that? Ak?
I was gonna ask while we were talking about the CMOS. My understanding also is on mushrooms. Um, I lean towards um they're not lawful to eat. I've never really been big on mushrooms anyways. As far as nutritional mushrooms, when before coming into the truth, but even coming into the truth, I don't really have too much proof to say that they are lawful to eat. What is your take on that out?
So I mean, if you look it up, it's another thing that there's so much information out there that you don't. Let's put it this way: you don't know really sometimes what to believe, but the majority of people and the majority of the information out there will say that mushroom is a fungus, right?
Or
They're
spores, right?
basically in con. They don't have seeds; they have spores,
Con. That's my
right?
understanding.
So if he said I give you every herb bearing seed, con. If you want to get Genesis 1:29 and 30,
Con.
that's I believe the same. My understanding is the same as that. Mushrooms, I mean, they're a fungus, and they say they're in a like a category of their own. They're separate from plants and from animals because a fungus is different from plants and from animals. Some people even say that a mushroom is like a type of mold. But either way, it's in my opinion, it's not a food. You know what I mean?
Con.
And again, it goes back to what we're saying at the beginning. I mean, if you have to question it and if you can't prove it one way or the other, why are you gonna risk it?
Con. Yeah, most definitely. This is Genesis chapter 1, verse 29. And God said, behold, I have given you every herb bearing seed, which is upon the face of all the earth, and every tree in the which is the fruit of a tree yielding seed. To you it shall be for meat. Did you say 30 as well, Ak?
But that's good. That's good.
Okay.
So as well, if you could get what is it? Sirach. Let me see. I think I wrote it down.
38.
Sirach 38 and 4. 38 and 4. So now this is the one like I guess you could say discrepancy that some brothers have given me, right?
This is Sirach chapter 38, verse 4. The Lord hath created medicines out of the earth, and he that is wise will not abhor them.
Right. So I've heard certain brothers say because like mushrooms, for example, are used to treat PTSD or what is it, post traumatic stress disorder and other symptoms like that. So some brothers I've heard say like, well, that's one of the medicines that the Most High gave us out of the earth. You know what I mean? But at the same time, if it says He gave you every herb bearing seed, and that's going to be your meat, then to my understanding, it needs to be precept upon precept, line upon line, here a little, there a little, and you put them together like that. And my one example that I've given a couple of brothers that have said that to me is, I mean, look at weed for example, right? If you're using it as a medicine, Salaki, can you hear me out?
Khan, you cut off for a little bit.
Okay, Khan. So if you use marijuana or cannabis as an example, right? If you're not gonna go and get the GMO weed that is has no seeds and is a cross strain and is genetically modified and made in a lab somewhere, you're gonna try and get the most natural one that you can if you're using it for medicine, right? And it has seeds and it grows naturally on the earth and it's not made in a lab somewhere. And that's precept upon precept because you're using the medicine out of the earth and it has seeds, right? But I've heard some brothers say about the whole mushroom thing that you can use it as a medicine. But then again, like we said, if you look it up, the majority of people classify it as a fungus or a fungi. So if you could get let's actually get into gluttony real quick. If you can get Proverbs 25 and 16.
Khan.
25:16. And actually, I'm gonna send you a couple of verses in the chat just so it'll be a little easier. Uh, Kwame Asharala, Shabbat Shalom, Mark. Shabbat Shalom. Hope you're having a peaceful one in the spirit. Let me go back up. So the sister said that's why I'm taking iron and B12. Okay, calm. All praises. Kingdom minded. I got an important question at the end of this lesson. Tawada. Khan, sounds good. The sister. Oh no, I'm gonna throw them away. What are you gonna throw away, sis?
This is Proverbs chapter 25, verse 16. Hast thou found honey? Eat so much as is sufficient for thee, lest thou be filled therewith and vomit it.
Khan. So we know we were talking about, or we were using this verse not too long ago, talking about wisdom and talking about studying, and how in Revelation and how in the Word it says you're supposed to eat the bitter and the sweet, right? Which is eating the Word, eating both parts of it. Like you come into the truth, finding out you're an Israelite and it's sweet, but then you realize I gotta be set apart, cut off people, things of that nature. That's bitter, right? But in this context, we're gonna use it as for food, for actual food, because we know we eat honey, right? And as we always say, you can look at it physically or you can look at it spiritually. And this one, we're gonna look at it physically. And like we've said before, if you eat honey, right, what's gonna happen? You're gonna get some health benefits. It's good for your cough. It's good for a sore throat, things of that nature. But if you eat too much of it, what's gonna happen? You're gonna end up vomiting it up, or you're gonna end up your stomach's not gonna like it, right? You're gonna end up getting sick from it. So the same thing can be said with any type of food. With any type of food. Did you get the private chat out?
Khan, I got it.
Okay, the water. So we're gonna talk about gluttony because that's a big problem. Like if you're just at home, right, all the time, which is good to an extent, staying set apart, staying to yourself, staying in the scriptures, staying to your duties, whether it be as a man studying, providing for your household, teaching your household, as a woman, um, being a helpmeet to your husband, being a mother and teaching your children, taking care of your house, etc. etc. That's a good thing. But at the same time, if you're at your house and you got a whole bunch of food in there, and I've been guilty of this as well, right? Gluttony is something that can come into play, right? And gluttony is just eating excessively, right? Eating excessively. So we're gonna talk about this real quick and see what some of the bad things can come from doing this.
Con. This is Sirach chapter 31, verse 20. Sound sleep cometh of moderate eating. He riseth early, and his wits are with him. But the pain of watching, and choler, and pangs of the belly are with an unsatiable man.
Con. So it says first, sound sleep cometh of moderate eating. I think we've all, at least once in our life, when you eat so much that you lay down and you can't even get comfortable, you can't even sleep because you're so full. You got food like all the way up to your throat. Literally, you lay down and you can't even relax. You can't even breathe, right? Can't even take a deep breath.
Yeah, it's called the. I'm guilty of it most definitely, even in the truth. I'm not gonna sit here and lie. And that's that food coma. That's bad for you.
Food coma. And that's something I've definitely been lately been looking out for. We eat sometimes not to be full, but just to eat and eat and eat just because we like to eat. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And I think when you asked on your story, what are you dealing with or something like that in one of your stories not too long ago, and that's what I put, right. I was like gluttony. Sometimes I'm watching something with my rib, and I'm just used to, we got food. I'm gonna go to the fridge and see if there's anything I want. You know what I mean?
Con,
Even though I'm not hungry.
con.
So this is something we can all attest to, and we can all self-examine ourselves on. So it says, "Sound sleep cometh of moderate eating." Everything that we do is supposed to be done in moderation, right? He riseth early, and his wits are with him, right? When you eat moderately and you're able to sleep better, and then you can rise up early better, and then you feel better, your wits are with you. But the pain of watching and choler, if you could pull up the definition of cholera, I believe it's just, yeah, it's just with the A at the end, Doc.
Got you.
So it's actually like a bacteria that does this. But when you look into the older definition and stuff like that, it's basically like you getting a stomach virus, either throwing up or even diarrhea, things of that nature, right? And pangs of the belly are with an unsatiable man. So unsatiable means you can't control yourself, right? You just eat and eat and eat. And I've even seen people from my family back in the days, years and years ago, they would eat so much and then throw up and then eat again. Like not purposely bulimia, throwing up and stuff, but like eat so much and then throw up and then just, oh man, well I still want to eat though. You know what I mean?
So this is definition of cholera, an infectious and often fatal bacterial disease of the small intestine, typically contracted from infected water supplies and causing severe vomiting and diarrhea.
Calm. So cholera is an actual. This is something that they just came into, or that they just named, I believe, a few hundred years ago, though. You know what I mean? So choler before what meant basically like a stomach virus. It meant the same thing though: vomiting, diarrhea, stomach pains, as it said, pangs of the stomach. Oh, Khan. If you want to bring out that verse as well, like in Daniel. Yeah, I know you know
Daniel,
where it is. If you want to go ahead and
I think it's what three? Yeah,
Con, if you want to bring that out, I'll go ahead and finish with this verse, and you can bring that out. So, sound sleep cometh of moderate eating, eating in moderation, right? And now me, I mean, we've gone over fasting and all that stuff plenty of times. And this is a good topic to touch on as well, because some of us are going to be keeping the Day of Atonement tomorrow at sundown, which is fasting as well. And this is why it's good to eat in moderation, because when days like Days of Atonement come, right, it's going to be easier for you to go ahead and keep the Day of Atonement. You're not going to be you're not going to be in the spirit of that gluttony where you're just used to eating and eating and eating and eating, and then it's going to be even harder to keep the Day of Atonement. And then also as well, if you got to eat less in the days to come in Jacob's trouble, right, it's going to benefit you a lot as well. So while you get that, I'm gonna read the next verse real quick. So this
Um,
is Sirach 37:29. Be not unsatiable in any dainty thing, nor too greedy upon meats. Right. So when you're unsatiable, again, you're not being able to control your urges, and you're greedy upon the meats. That is basically the basic definition of being gluttonous, right? And we'll come back and touch on that after the brother brings this out real quick.
con.
You want chapter 10 first or chapter 1, Ak?
We could do one. So this is Daniel talking to the king when he was being, well, not forced, but they were giving him food that was defiled and that he didn't want to eat. So his answer to them was, "Prove thy servants, I beseech thee, 10 days, and let them give us pulse to eat and water to drink." So he wasn't really going to be consuming all the other foods that were in a sense defiled, and he even said, that he's basically saying, look upon our countenance, that our physical and mental health is going to be way better, and you'll be able to tell than your servants after 10 days of this fast. So if you want to pull up Daniel 10. So then he says, I ate no pleasant bread, neither came flesh nor wine in my mouth, neither did I anoint myself at all, till 3 whole weeks were fulfilled. So this is, I would say the foundation of the Daniel fast, which there's a lot of information online if you really do your research to how you can get creative. And if you don't mind, I'll touch on that. Um, just because I've done this a couple of
Go ahead,
times.
Ak.
The Daniel fast will force you and put you in a position, if you're not already, let's say, a vegetarian, for instance, right, or you don't, or let's say vegan, and you eat meat constantly like me, or you might eat bread, things like that. When you partake in the Daniel fast, aside from the health benefits of putting away the meats, the pastas, all the carb heavy food, you're kind of put in a position where um you have to get creative, and you have to build a discipline to follow through with your fast. And this is something that I've challenged myself a couple of times to do, to where, okay, now I have to find out creative ways to cook without using all these crazy seasonings. Or, okay, how can I make it through today without just relying on being able to go and buy fast food, or buy chicken, or something filling, like even like the small things like a sandwich and things of that nature, because you're not eating bread, you're not drinking any sorts of milk. I mean, you can go all organic with like almond milks and things like that, but that's what it kind of forces you. It forces you to not just eat to eat. And if you do decide to just have a snack, it's most likely going to be fruit. It's most likely going to be veggies. Um, and you promote that mental well being, the discipline, and you could see why it was of good discernment for Daniel to do that, and prove them that his countenance did look better after the 10 days.
Calm. Sorry, no tortillas, Zach.
Man, I was tough.
Con. But
Yeah.
yeah, that's a good point. And you know what? I'm not even gonna lie. I'm not like you when I've done that to where I'm like trying to figure out, okay, what am I gonna cook or anything like that. What I'll do is I'll just drink some juice. You know what I mean? Like juice from different fruits, or I'll just eat the whole fruits. One thing I've really gotten into eating is cucumber, just because I don't know if you saw that post I made a while back. It's like 90 some percent water or 80 some percent water. So it actually it fills you up, but you are going to be hungry a lot sooner than if you actually ate a whole meal. You know what I mean?
Con. Yeah. And the sister asked, no tortillas. Um, if you look at tortillas, some of the tortillas they have additional ingredients. You know, it's important to, like the brother. You know, when he goes to the store, he says that, you know, his rib or his daughters are always looking at the ingredients. You'll be surprised. You know, I mean, there's a way. I mean, if I really had the corn and I grounded myself and I just got to it, I can make it, you know, part of my Daniel fast. But I mean, I'm not really gonna I'm not really gonna do all that, you know, just by, you know, you work all day, you get home, you're not really trying to grind up corn just to have a couple tortillas.
Con for sure. And yeah, there's some that you can look up to where it's like you don't even have to I mean basically if you think about it, homemade tortillas like the picture that I posted earlier on my Instagram, the one my rib made, you can make some with some real simple ingredients. It's
Mm-hmm.
basically unleavened bread is all that it is. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? You need a little bit of water, flour, salt, oil, and that's basically it. That's like what? For three ingredients if you don't count water. Four if you count in water. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
But that
Sister,
I was
I
just trying to
have time.
con she has time. Okay, if you got time, sis, then that's cool.
Get through
Just not
con.
today. Not today and not tomorrow if you're observing Day of Atonement.
Con.
But con, let me go back up real quick. And if you do, don't. It's like Noah, man. Noah earlier today, he probably ate like three tortillas, and then he wanted another one. I was like, "Hey, bro, that's enough. Like you already like they're good, huh?" And he's skinny,
Yeah.
you know, so you see his little tummy sticking out. He's already looking like a dog with worms in his stomach or something, you know.
That's funny.
But yeah, I'm gonna
That's
go
funny.
back up. Let's go through these three verses real quick.
Sirach 37 and 29. Be not unsatiable in any dainty thing, nor too greedy upon meats. For excess of meats bringeth sickness, and surfeiting will turn into choler.
So excess of meats will bring sickness, and it's like we were reading earlier. Proverbs is it 25:15 or 16? It says to eat as much honey is sufficient for you. So it's anything. This is talking specifically about meats, but excess of meats bring it sickness. And we know that as well. Too much meat will get you sick, especially if you're not used to eating meat. Like me and my household, we rarely eat red meat.
Con.
So if we were to eat too much of it, it will make you sick. And surfeiting will turn into choler. So surfeiting basically is it's like overindulging. You're overindulging or you're excessive with how you're eating, right? So when it says this, it says that it'll turn into choler again. What are the characteristics of choler? Diarrhea, throwing up, stomach pains, things of that nature.
Sirach 37 and 31. By surfeiting have many perished, but he that taketh heed prolongeth his life.
So if you want to prolong your life, you just got to take heed to this and not overindulge, not surf it. Um, Surfeiting is how they spell it now in the new English. It's without the I, it's two T's. Surfeiting. And that's just like I said, overindulging in your appetite. You're eating excessively. It doesn't even have to be meat, it can be in anything, because too much of a good thing is a bad thing. So let me go back down. Okay, Khan. So the brother posted a surfeit an excessive amount of something, right? So in this context, we know that it's talking about food and eating too much of anything. It says many people perish from that, right? Because it causes all types. If you eat too much sugar, what's gonna happen? It's gonna cause disease. If you eat too much meat, what's gonna happen? It's gonna cause disease. What was the dude's name? The big wrestler dude, Brock Lesnar. You know who that is, right?
Yeah.
Okay, that dude, I can't even remember how big he is. He's probably like six something, two, almost 300 pounds. He had diverticulitis. I don't know if any of y'all are familiar with that. Diverticulitis is basically where protein builds up in your intestines. Okay, so he all he would do, he owned a ranch, I think in Montana or somewhere up north like that. That I believe it's in Montana, and all he would eat was everything he would kill. So he would kill deer and elk and all different types of cattle and things like that, and he would just eat a whole bunch of meat. And I remember it was when he was in the UFC, we saw some like behind the scenes type of thing, and he had freezers at his house just full of all the meat he would kill, and that's all he would eat. So long story short, from eating all of that meat, he ended up getting this illness called diverticulitis. And like I said, that's just a buildup of protein in your intestines. And I can't remember how many feet of his intestines they had to take out, but it was over 10 feet of his intestines because it was just so built up with all of that protein. It was all the protein was just like, imagine protein builds muscles, right? So if all that protein just building up in your intestines and nothing could go through, so he was having problems going to the restroom and things of that nature. But that goes perfectly with this verse, right? Excess of meats bringeth sickness, right? By surfeiting have many perished. Too much. And when you look at cholera or choler, let me go back to it. Right here, it says an infectious and often fatal bacterial disease of the small intestine. And what they have to do, they had to cut out a bunch of his intestines.
Thing.
Charlene Hudman, Shabbat Shalom. Shabbat
Mashallah.
Shalom, sis. So, Khan, no matter what it is, too much of a good thing can definitely end up being a bad thing, right? If you could get me, let me see, Proverbs 23 and 20 and 21. Proverbs 23, verse 20 and 21. And that's going to go into gluttony a little bit more. And actually, if you even think about it, let me get another verse in Deuteronomy. We went over this a long time ago. You remember that lesson, Ak? I think you were on it. That we went over a bunch of the things that people would be put to death for back in the days.
Yeah, with the Word document you had.
Con. Let me pull that up real quick. Okay, if you could get as well Deuteronomy 21 and 20 through 21. That's crazy because it's the exact same verse in Proverbs and Deuteronomy. Deuteronomy 21, 20, and 21. The water.
Come on. Okay, this is the book of Proverbs, chapter 23, verse 20. Be not among wine bibbers, among riotous eaters of flesh.
So be not among wine bibbers, people that are always excessively drinking alcohol or wine, or among riotous eaters of flesh. Go ahead.
For the drunkard and the glutton shall come to poverty, and drowsiness shall clothe a man with rags.
For the drunkard and glutton, this is what we've been talking about for the past few minutes, shall come to poverty, right? And now we started the whole lesson with First Corinthians 3:16 and 17, and we're talking about the many different ways the Most High can destroy you, right? And when you think of poverty, you have to think in the context of how Solomon was using it, right? How was Solomon using? He said that health and good estate of body is above wealth, right? Or is above all other riches. Health is wealth, basically. So when it says you're going to come to poverty, think about it physically. Think about it when it comes to your health, right? You drink too much, you eat too much, you're going to come to poverty physically. Your health is going to decline, right? Because if you have good health, it's a bunch of riches. Then if you have bad health, it's poverty, right? And drowsiness shall clothe a man with rags. So to go along with this, let me see, was this a right? Okay, Khan, you want to go ahead and read that out?
This is Deuteronomy chapter 21, verse 20. And they shall say unto the elders of his city, this our son is stubborn and rebellious. He will not obey our voice. He is a glutton and a drunkard.
So back in the days before Yahushua stepped on the scene and he died for our sins and gave us an opportunity to repent, we know that there were certain things that people would get put to death for, whether it be breaking Sabbath, whether it be committing adultery. And this is another one that a lot of people don't know about. When you were being rebellious and stubborn towards your parents, right, and you weren't listening to them and you were consistently doing this, your parents had the opportunity or the chance, if they wanted to, they could basically pull up charges on you to the elders, to the priests, to the ones that were in charge of judgment at that time, to the Levites, and they could have you put to death. But notice how it says, it doesn't just say he's just stubborn, he's rebellious. He will not obey our voice. He is a glutton and a drunkard, right? So we have to understand that all of these things go hand in hand, because let's say you can rule your spirit, or you have wisdom, you know you're an Israelite, you know you got to keep the Sabbath, you know you got to do these things, you know you're keeping the 10 commandments, whatever your dispensation of knowledge is, you're starting to keep the laws, statutes, commandments. But then you're a glutton, right? You have all you have it spiritually, let's say that, or you have it mentally in your heart, but physically you are going to start to decline, right? And then a drunkard as well. I mean, obviously we know you're not in your right mind when you're drunk and you're always drinking, but that's also going to make your health decline, right? So it's just something to note that they didn't just say, "Oh man, he's rebelling against us. He's not listening to us." No, they went even farther. He is a glutton. He is a drunkard, because the spirit and the body, they coincide together and they go hand in hand. So a lot of times when you're rebellious in your spirit, when you're gluttonous in your spirit, which also can be covetous, right? Then you will also, it will manifest outwardly in the flesh when it comes to eating, drinking, and those types of things.
Deuteronomy 21 and 21. And all the men of his city shall stone him with stones, that he die. So shalt thou put evil away from among you, and all Israel shall hear and fear.
Um, so they, like I said, they ended up putting people like that to death for being having these types of rebellious, covetous, gluttonous characteristics, right? So if you can give me Proverbs 19 and 15,
Salakia.
Proverbs
Proverbs
9. 1915
Con.
and 2013. Just to go along with this, right?
Con.
Let me
I'm
go
gonna
back
put
up.
this on here. Um, it's a definition of, because you said covet. I also think you could drop idolize in there, idolatry,
Con,
and
for sure.
I'm gonna put the definition of to idolize to idolize something.
Shabbat Shalom, Tazadak, if you're observing Sabbath, and Kingdom Minded, Shalom, Shalom.
Con. So yeah, I mean you could still be in the truth and try your best, like the brother said, to follow what you have to your understanding to the best of your ability. But even then, you could still fall into the traps of idolatry, in many different ways, so it's always important to be vigilant. That's why it's important to know the meaning of things, to pay importance into what words mean, because when you look into idolatry, it doesn't necessarily mean like just the Buddha or La Virgen Maria or Guadalupe, or whatever other gods, but it can be, you could fall into the idolatry of money or idolatry of sports or superstars or whatever the case may be, or food, you know.
Con, for sure. And I'm glad you said that because most people don't really realize it. It's like you said, most people will say, like, okay, the white Jesus, we don't idolize him no more, right? But really, anything can be an idol. It can be a musician, right? An actor or an actress, right? You, like it says here, you admire, revere, love greatly or excessively, right? It can be food. It can be. It's funny because yesterday we were trying to look for some ice cream. Man, it was crazy. We were trying. I've been wanting a root beer float. I don't drink soda, but I've been wanting a root beer float. So we go to Walmart yesterday, and we couldn't find one ice cream that didn't have carrageenan, unless it was like that keto. It's keto ice cream, which is it doesn't even taste like ice cream. And and then I was looking through the like the soda aisle. They probably had like four or five different types of the root beer, and they all had high fructose corn syrup in it. So I was like, man, I can't get no ice cream without carrageenan, and I can't
Well,
get no damn root beer without high fructose. I was like, all right, let's just find something else.
you're better off getting. I mean, if you're gonna get soda, um, imported from Mexico, where they actually use the cane sugar.
Con, exactly. And they have some around here. They sell, but it's never root beer. It's
Yes,
only Sprite,
yeah, yeah. I
Coke.
was gonna say it's probably like 5 flavors.
Con, exactly. But yeah, let's go ahead and read um this verse right here.
Con. This is Proverbs chapter 19, verse 15. Slothfulness casteth into a deep sleep, and an idle soul shall suffer hunger.
So slothfulness casteth into a deep sleep, and an idle soul shall suffer hunger. So this is a good precept as well for Sirach 33 when we were talking about idleness, right? Idleness teacheth much evil, but this can also go along with being a glutton, right? Because when you're gluttonous, right, and you're always eating and eating and eating, how do you feel when you feel stuffed, Ak?
Oh, sleepy, tired. My body's just working overtime trying to digest.
God, you don't want to do nothing, right?
Con.
You're in hibernation mode.
Yep.
So that it leads to that slothful feeling in your spirit, in your body. I remember I ate a burger like I think 2 weeks ago. My daughter wanted a burger and she was like, "I'll buy you one." She had money, and she bought me one. I ate it, and like 10 minutes after I ate it, I was like, "Man, I shouldn't have ate that." I just felt lazy. I felt heavy. I was supposed to come home and train, and I was like, "Man, I don't even feel like it."
Nope.
So
That ain't happening.
I had to wait like a couple hours, and that can lead to that slothful spirit depending on what you eat. And that's why, like in the world, they say you are what you eat. The things that you
Mm-hmm.
put into your body definitely affect your spirit, and it can lead to that slothfulness, that slothful spirit. It doesn't even have to be you're going to sleep, it's just that sleeping feeling like you don't want to do nothing, you just want to be idle, right? So let's go to 20 and 13.
Con. Love not sleep, lest thou come to poverty. Open thine eyes, and thou shalt be satisfied with bread.
So, and that slothfulness can lead to a excessive sleep, right? I remember when I was for a short period of time, um, we when I would smoke weed for what 14, 15 years of my life, there was a certain part of my life where I was feeling real depressed and stuff like that. All I would do was I would wake up, smoke some weed, eat, take a nap, wake up, smoke some more weed, eat some more, maybe watch TV, hang out with so-called friends, smoke some more weed, eat some more, go to sleep. You know what I mean? That cycle, it it comes with what you're eating. The weed as well, but also just eating all that junk food. There's no energy in eating pizza rolls and I mean just a whole bunch of junk that's all processed and it's not real food.
Con.
And I think we can all like when you go on that Daniel diet, how do you feel afterwards?
At first, I'm big on meat, like
God,
turkey and stuff like that. So at first, it's like um your body's kind of, my body at least, I'm like, man, I'm hungry, and at first it's kind of like my body's detoxing from breads and stuff like that, and I'm just drinking waters. But then um like maybe day 3, day 4, I'm feeling naturally energized. Especially because all I'm eating is really foods that are, alkaline or alive, or fruits and veggies and legumes, just beans, nuts, things that are naturally healthy for you. So it's just a natural energy.
most definitely. Like you said, you really do have to detox. And when you um when you look into like gluten, like which is in all different types of foods and stuff like that, especially like the grains and breads and things like that. Like you said, it takes a few days for your body to adjust.
Hmm.
And some of the things that happens is you can even get fatigue from detoxing from gluten, right? So you won't feel that energized at right away, right? Which some people think is gonna happen, right? You even feel like a brain fog sometimes. You don't feel right because your body's literally adjusting to getting off of something you've been putting into your body your whole life, right? But afterwards, like you said, the it's gradual, but that improvement it does come, and you'll start to feel better and better the more that you do it.
Most definitely.
If you could give me, let me see, First Corinthians 6 and 12. First Corinthians 6 and 12. So I kind of touched on this earlier, um, and the brother Jomar did as well a while back. I think it was maybe 2 or 3 lives ago. When it comes to certain things, just because it's like okay, it doesn't have pork. I can't remember what was the example you gave, Ak. Like just because it's lawful.
Um,
You remember?
yeah. Like I think you're talking about one day I was at work and somebody had offered me, it was like a candy or something, and they were like, it doesn't have. So then I was looking through the packaging myself. I was like, looking through the ingredients, but it was like Red 40, like all these other like chemicals in there. I'm like, hey, but it doesn't have pork, like, I mean, is it
Con,
smart to eat it? Probably not. It's just all this toxicity in it. But I mean, it doesn't have pork, so I can eat it technically, but some of those things are cancer causing, so it's probably not expedient to consume.
exactly.
And this is First Corinthians chapter 6 and verse 12. All things are lawful unto me, but all things are not expedient. All things are lawful for me, but I will not be brought under the power of any.
So expedient means profitable. So just because something's lawful to you, you're looking through the ingredients and you see, okay, there's no gelatin, there's no carrageenan, there's no monodiglycerides, the things that you're looking for that are unlawful, that have pork or have shellfish or whatever, that doesn't mean that it's going to be expedient or profitable to you, like the brother said, right? As a matter of fact, if you could bring up, I think you brought it up last time, um, like how it says red 40 and yellow and the colors and the cancer, how it give like a cancer warning.
Uh,
Then it says all things are lawful for me. So anything where there's not a law against it, it's lawful for you, right? Like I've heard brothers tell me, well, I've told them, well, you should really stop playing so much video game. How much video games do you play a day? Well, maybe like 2 to 4 hours. And then they're having problems. Well, I don't know, I'm having problems with learning or with studying, blah blah blah. Well, if you put down the video games, right, you'll be able to do that. And then they'll say things like, well, there's no law saying that I can't play video games, right? But just because it's lawful, it doesn't mean that it's profitable. And but I will not be brought under the power of any. And when it comes to social media, video games, eating, right, you can't be brought under the power of anything. You are under the power of anything that you cannot fast from, right? Always keep that in mind. You are under the power of anything that you cannot fast from, whether it be food, video games, social media, anything.
so some dyes may contain cancer-causing contaminants. And then it talks about red 40, yellow 5, and yellow 6 may contain contaminants that are known cancer-causing substances. Red dye 40 is one of the most widely used food dyes, as well as one of the most controversial. The dye is thought to be linked to allergies, migraine, and mental disorders in children.
Con. So let me get this real quick. I was looking at it earlier. It's a list. It says list of foods with red 40. I'm not even gonna. Of course, I'm not gonna go through all of them, but um, candy. I'm not even gonna read all the names, but there's candies, sodas, sports drinks, right? Anything that's red. If you got a red Powerade, a red Gatorade, uh, anything with red in it, a red soda, tea, right? That's red. Any type of juices that have artificial food dyes, it's got red 40. Gummies, even though most gummies have gelatin in them, there's some without it. That they got red 40. Jello, right? Even cake. What is that? Red cake. Red velvet
Velvet.
cake. Con. All those types of things. Um, condiments. If you look at ketchup, right? A lot of the ketchup, the more generic brands and stuff, got red 40 in it. Dairy products. If you get yogurt, frozen yogurt, even some of the ice cream. If it's got red, if it's got strawberry and it's red, the majority of the time it's got red 40 in it, right? It says breakfast cereals. So like if you get them what is it called with the little Captain Crunch with the red
Crunch.
ones? It's got red 40. Baking mixes, baked goods, pastries, packaged fruit products such as cherries. You get cherries and it's got red liquid in it, or they want to keep it red, it's got red 40 in it. Strawberry fruit bars. You know those little fruit bars with the strawberry in it? Got red 40. Snack chips, anything with red or cheese colored, right? If you get Cheetos, even the regular Cheetos, but hot Cheetos, Takis, all of those got red 40 in it, right? Dinner product manager, the list goes on and on and on and on and on. And that's just red 40, right? Then when you look at the yellows, there's more products that have the yellow 5 and yellow 6, which also, like you read, can cause cancer, can cause allergies, migraines, headaches, mental disorders in children, right? A lot of times, children will be diagnosed with ADHD, ADD, ADHD, all of those types of things. And in reality, it's just the things that they're consuming that's making them act a certain way. You have to understand that the chemicals you put in their body, especially as they're developing, is going to affect them either in a positive or negative way. So the brother said, I don't need anything with red 40. Con, same here. Same here. Me and my house, my children all know, even Noah, it has red 40? Or he told my mom last time out, I can't remember what she offered us. And then he was like, no, that has carrageenan. She was like, what? And I was like, nothing,
Snap.
nothing. We just can't eat that.
Young chemist.
For real. I look for recipes that I can make at home from vegetables. Yeah, that's good, sis. And it's funny because we have information at the tip of our fingers, and the majority of people don't even think to do that. It's so easy to go to the store and buy a box of whatever, and then you just warm it up, right? But then it's got 100 ingredients on it, right?
Mhm.
And one of the this is a tip for y'all, right? One, I can't remember who told me this, but years ago when I was barely coming into the truth, a brother had told me this, and man, I cannot remember who it was, but he said anytime you're gonna buy something to eat, if you can't pronounce one of the ingredients, you probably shouldn't be eating it. Right? It's like monosodium aluminum, whatever. You probably shouldn't be putting that in your body, right? Let's just get a couple more verses out. If you want to give me Third John 1 and 2,
Con.
and then I'll put two more verses in the chat. So yeah, like I said, anybody who wants to, if you're truly trying to take care of your temple, right? Just the simplest thing to start looking for, okay? The simplest thing to start looking for in the products or the foods that you are buying is carrageenan. Carrageenan. Let me see. Is that spelled right? I think that's spelled right. I'm gonna put it in the chat. I challenge you, next time you go buy something, next time you go buy food, right? Whatever you buy, just check the ingredients and see if it has this in it. If it does, you shouldn't be eating it. All right. And like I said, I guarantee you probably around 50% or more than 50% of the things that you buy, whether it be ice cream, whether it be boxed foods, whether it be my rib wanted some what is it called, cheesecake the other day. We haven't had cheesecake in the longest time. All the cheesecakes got carrageenan in it, right? Even cereals, every almost every type of food you can think of. So start with that, and I guarantee you, you're gonna be surprised if you haven't looked into it already.
Con, this is the Rock, chapter 30, verse 22. The gladness of the heart is the life of man, and the joyfulness of a man prolongeth his days.
So the gladness of the heart of the mind is the life of man. It gives you life when you have gladness in your heart, in your mind, right? And the joyfulness of a man prolongeth his days. They'll even tell you, if you go to a doctor or something, they'll tell you when you're mad all the time, or when you're yelling all the time, when you're angry all the time, it actually shortens your life, right? So this says, the gladness of the heart is the life of man, and the joyfulness of a man prolongeth his days. You will live longer just being glad, being joyful in your heart, in your spirit.
1 Timothy chapter 6 and verse 6. But godliness with contentment is great gain.
Godliness with contentment is great gain. Actually, if you give me Sirach 38 and 15 as well, Baba Kashaw.
38:15. Con.
So it says, gladness of the heart is the life of man, and the joyfulness of a man prolongeth his days. 1 Timothy 6 and 6. But godliness with contentment is great gain. So I've said this many times before, but you got to come to a point where living according to the word, striving to live godly, and being content with it, right? That is going to be great gain to you. Great gain. Why? Because when you're content with living godly, that is going to make you glad in your heart, right? It's going to make you joyful in your spirit, and that prolongs your days. Not just on this earth, but also, most high willing, in the kingdom, prolongs your days. You get eternal life in the kingdom with Yahweh Bashem Yahushai, right? But how do you do this again? It's by living godly and being content with it. Being content with living godly. Because there's some Israelites that I've seen before or ran into before, and they seem to be, or they put on the spirit, or show you that they're living in the spirit, or say they're living in the spirit, but they don't seem content with it, right? Striving to live godly without being content doing it, that's like having half the love of the Most High, right? Because First John 5 and 3, everybody quotes that and says, this is the love of the Most High, that we keep his commandments. Everybody says that. But then we have to remember, and his commandments are not grievous, right? We have to be content with keeping the commandments. We have to be content and be happy with striving to live out the will of the Most High. And then that is great gain. But if not,
He that sinneth before his maker, let him fall into the hand of the physician.
if you want to sin, you want to keep sinning, right? Then you're going to fall into the hands of the physician, which is plain and simple. You're going to be sick. That's why if you read in the curses, in Deuteronomy 28, even the ones that aren't in the book upon you, right? All the plagues from Egypt and even more. It says the botch of Egypt and all the sicknesses plus some more. Because back then, we got all different types of diseases that they're naming nowadays that they didn't even have back then, right? Like the Crown 19, for example, you think they were saying, "Oh man, this guy's got Crown 19." No, the water.
This is Deuteronomy chapter 28, verse 61. Also, every sickness and every is not written in the book of this law, them will the Lord bring upon thee until thou be destroyed.
So this is part of the curses, right? The same chapter 28:15, as I'm sure all of y'all know. It says if you don't follow the laws, if you don't follow the commandments, all these curses will come upon you. All these sicknesses and every plague which is not written in the book too, that's going to be brought upon you. And why? Because like it says here, he that sinneth before his maker, let him fall into the hand of the physician. That's one of the many ways that the Most High can destroy you. Um, like we brought out in the beginning, right here, First Corinthians 3:16. Right, you're the temple of the Most High, and if you defile the temple, then what's the Most High gonna do? He's gonna destroy you. This is one of the ways he can destroy you. Right, and it's like a brother was telling me, asking me about weed, and I was breaking it down for him, and he was like, well, and of course I brought out these scriptures as well, and he was like, well, God hasn't destroyed me yet, so I guess I'm good. But I was like, well, your memory is destroyed, isn't it? And he kind of laughing about it, you know what I mean? The more you smoke weed, we know the less you're gonna remember. You could smoke a blunt, and then later on that day you'll forget what you were even doing, what you ate, things of that nature, right? And there's already enough chemicals in our food that are messing with our memories and all types of stuff like that. Chemtrails getting dropped on us in the sky, right? Radiation from all the different means of communication we have, the internet, the Wi-Fi routers, the cell phones, all of these different ways that they're messing with our bodies and our temples. So we don't need to add anything else to it. All right, so this is plain and simple. He that sinneth before his maker, let him fall into the hand of the physician. And with that, you have anything you want to add, Doc?
Yeah, we're gonna pull up a scripture. Let me post it real quick.
You know what?
It reminded me when you said when you were talking about um all of the things that on top of the choices you get to make, on top of all the choices you get to make as far as your dietary choices, there's all those things that we don't really have control over, as far as like things are spraying in the sky. You're walking and then you got 5G towers, you got all these sorts of conductors around that we're unaware of, um, all the artificial lighting and buildings and things like that are just interacting constantly with your body. um it's important to be mindful about what you can worry about now. As Yahushua said, take therefore no thought for the morrow shall take thought for the things of itself. Sufficient unto the day is the evil thereof. We got so much to worry about now, um, to be really trying to focus on other things that aren't really um as expedient, I guess I would say, but just be mindful of all the things that we do control, all the dietary choices that we can make, and encourage each other to do better by means of even trying the Daniel fast or trying different types of things that put you in a position that's uncomfortable. Because when you pray in sincerity and you ask the Most High to elevate you spiritually, it's gonna get uncomfortable. That's when you start to examine yourself. So I think that's all I'll add on that, is just be very mindful of being vigilant and sincere in what you ask for in prayer, because once you do that, you're gonna elevate, and it's gonna make you uncomfortable, but that's just the reproach of the Most High. So we have to self-reflect.
Con. That's a good point. As a matter of fact, if you could pull up Sirach 5:15 to kind of piggyback off that,
Con,
Sirach 5:15 and what is it? Isaiah 54:17,
con,
because that's a good point too. Like there's all these things around us that we don't know of, but when you do pray, and the Most High, you pray for truth, right? It's like in Sirach, what is it? I believe the 35th chapter, where it says, above all these things, pray that you will be led in truth, right? And when you do pray in truth and in sincerity and humility, the Most High will start revealing these things to you, and then you are to act on them. You know what I mean? But we all have been in, and still are in some areas, in a sense of ignorance to certain things.
con. This is Isaiah chapter 54, verse 17. No weapon that is formed against thee shall prosper, and every tongue that shall rise against thee in judgment thou shalt condemn. This is the heritage of the servants of the Lord, and their righteousness is of me, said the Lord.
So it says, no weapon that is formed against thee shall prosper. If the Most High is for you, then the weapons formed against you are not going to prosper against you, right? Jumping down to the second part of the verse, it says, this is the heritage of the servants of Yahweh, and their righteousness is of me, right? Our heritage, Most High willing, right now is that no weapon formed against us is going to prosper, right? And a heritage is something that you inherit. It's something that is given. It's not something that you buy. It's not something that you can do things for to gain or to earn. That's something that is given to you. And that's why it says their righteousness is of me. The Most High, the only reason we're even doing a live right now, the only reason anybody's watching this right now, the only reason you're even in the Bible today or keeping Sabbath is because that little bit of righteousness is of the Most High. So, as the brother was saying, when we pray and ask for things to be revealed to us or to be led in truth, then as he reveals these things, we have to start acting on them, right?
This is Sirach chapter 5, verse 15. Be not ignorant of anything in a great matter or a small.
So now we know that there's certain things, whether it be in the world, like a so-called worldly knowledge, or even in the scriptures, you may read a verse and be like, "Oh man, that," right? And you learn something. There's always something that we're ignorant of. We prophesy in part, as the scriptures say. We know things in part. Nobody knows the whole Bible. Nobody has 144% doctrine, like some people say. So once the Most High reveals things to us, either great or small, we're to act off of those things, right? Whether it be carrageenan, whether it be red 40, because guess what? Now you go and eat some red 40, and you know that it causes cancer, and the Most High knows you know. Hey, that's not going to be a good look for you. If the Most High knows, well, they just knew, and you're thinking, right? Well, my body's a temple, and red 40 causes cancer, but man, these hot Cheetos look good, right? And it's that addiction, because remember, cheese is like crack. Y'all check out that article. Cheese is like crack.
Con.
But anything else you want to go over, even not on this topic or anything?
No, not necessarily right now. Just the water for setting it up. I know that I've been thoroughly edified for sure. There's a lot of self-reflecting I'm gonna have to do as far as being more vigilant about the ingredients, the carrageenan, the monodiglycerides, um, just being observant, and right now is really the time to do it, especially if you want to elevate. the people that are on, you know, you're on for a reason. You know, you guys are still watching for a reason. So everything, you know, the Most High directs our steps, and we're gathered, you know, learning and encouraging each other. So yeah, just would like to say the water for having me on, and hopefully everyone was edified just as I was.
Calm, most definitely. As a matter of fact, now that you said that, there was one more scripture I wanted to get. If you can
Con,
get First Timothy 4:8, First Timothy 4:8, because a
con.
brother actually messaged me about this verse,
Mm,
and I just wanted to make a quick point on it. So, as some of you know, I have a barn in the back of my property, which I'm turning into a gym, and let's just say the brother was trying to say that shouldn't be working out, is the way that he put it, right? There's more important things to do than to work out and things of that nature, right? So let's go
mhm.
ahead and read this verse, because he actually he sent this verse as well.
This is First Timothy chapter 4 verse 8. It says, "For bodily exercise profiteth little, but godliness is profitable unto all things, having promise of the life that now is, and of that which is to come."
Okay, so bodily exercise profiteth little, right? It profits a little bit, but godliness is profitable unto all things. So no matter what we're talking about, we know that the spirit is more important than the flesh or than the body. That's a given. Everybody can agree to that, and everybody basically that's been in the truth for any period of time knows that the spirit over the body, right? But notice here, because he was trying to use this verse and say that we shouldn't be working out, is the way he put it. But it says here, for bodily exercise profiteth little. So it's saying that bodily exercise profits you a little, right? So if let's say the brother Jomar was breaking down a scripture and it was a long scripture, let's say, like, for example, right here, Isaiah 54:17. No weapon that is formed against thee shall prosper, and every tongue that shall rise against thee in judgment thou shalt condemn. This is the heritage of the servants of Yahweh, and the righteousnesses of me, saith Yahweh. Let's say the brother Jomar could break down this precept perfectly, beautifully, everything, but then he gets to just the last part, and the righteousnesses of me, and for whatever reason he doesn't understand it. He breaks down the rest of it. What, one, two, three? There's really 4 points that it's making here. When you look at you got the commas and the punctuations, right? No weapon that's formed against me shall prosper. Then it says, and every tongue that shall rise against thee in judgment shall condemn. This is the heritage of the servants of Yahweh. One part of the precept. That's just a little bit, right? One fourth of it, and it profits him a little bit. Is that going to help you out?
Con.
Con, it's going to help you. So when we're going over this, and it says bodily exercise profiteth little, I'm not saying, man, you should be working out every day, an hour a day, right? But I will tell you that, and from experience, not just me, my rib, my daughters, I have a big family, remember, 6 people. I can tell you that it profits everybody to be active. It profits everybody to be active. If you have children locked up in the house all day, it's not going to be good for you. They're going to have too much energy to burn. They're going to start getting into trouble. Like we read in Sirach 33, idleness teacheth much evil when you're not doing things. Remember, our ancestors, what were they doing? They were outside all the time doing things, right? They were practicing husbandry, animals, raising animals, growing crops, building things. Look at Yahushai. right? Some people say he was a construction worker. He was a carpenter, right? He was always doing things. He was active. Even when they were going out to preach, how were they getting there? They were walking a lot of the time, right? They were in boats. They didn't have no motors on those boats. How do you think they were getting around? Right?
Con,
So bodily exercise, even if it's not you, I'm not saying you got to lift weights. I'm not saying you got to even just going out and walking in nature. That's exercise. It's going to profit you, especially mentally as well. It's not just your body. It's going to get the endorphins going in your heart, in your mind, in your head, and it's going to put you in a better mood, right? There's a lot of natural, when you look at natural remedies to certain things, mental illnesses, whether it be depression or things of that nature. It's one of the main ones is eating healthier and exercising more, sweating, right? So that's just one other point I wanted to make, that any type of exercise, whether it be walking, jogging, running, doing some type of martial arts, which to me that's the best thing. Not only because I've been doing martial arts my whole life, but also because you can look at it this way: you can run every day, or you can walk every day, which is good. It's giving you exercise, or you can learn a martial art, which is going to be exercise. And you never know, it may profit you one day, and you need to use it, and you have that ability to use it. And it's also a very big confidence builder, right? In women and children, and in men as well, right? But the main thing, like it says here, godliness is profitable unto all things. Godliness is the number one thing. Being in the scriptures, praying, fasting, learning to the best of your ability, trying to seek the Most High and see Him in all things and follow Him in all things. All right, so
con.
you want to add anything to that?
Uh, the water again. All praise to the Most High. Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh.
Khan, all praise to the Most High, Yahweh Bashem, Yahweh Shai. Um, Nakama and Charlene, all praise to the Most High. I'm glad uh y'all were able to get something out of this. I guess the brother's not on here anymore. Kingdom Minded,
Yeah.
but we'll be on here again as well. I'll text you tomorrow, probably around lunchtime, and
Con.
we'll get at least one more lesson in tomorrow,
Okay, con.
right? And then okay, so with that, I'll say Shabbat Shalom, Ashar Shabbat, Happy Sabbath. Have a peaceful Sabbath in the spirit. Y'all stay in the spirit, stay in the scriptures as much as possible. And for those of you who are going to get ready for the Day of Atonement, I would suggest y'all eat something before it starts, right? Something healthy, but also filling. Um, Fake Juice did 911. You guys in Southern Cali, so no. I like your name though. Um, I'm in South Texas, and the brothers in Arizona.
Oh, that name's tight. I don't know if you saw what I posted today. I posted something along those lines.
Oh, con for real.
That's
Hey,
funny.
they did do it. They did it.
That threw me off.
Have you ever?
Can't
Hey,
read his name.
con. Hey, have you heard that song with I just heard it recently. It's super old though, with Immortal Technique and Mos Def.
It's a most def sample. Bush knocked down the towers.
Con. I hadn't heard that until recently.
Yeah,
Bush
that's
knocked
the
down yeah, that was dope.
it's a, yeah, it's a dope song. It's old too. It sounds grainy, huh? It just sounds old.
It it does. It does. It sounds like it
Yeah,
was like recorded in their basement or something.
yeah. It's and that's the only version that exists. It's just a really bad quality song, but it's such a good song. Yeah.
Con. I feel you. It's like those songs. It's like the lyrics are on point, but the quality's just like they need to send it to the brother Jomar or something.
It should have sent it my way.
Con.
God.
Hey, and on that note, real quick, I'm gonna try and get to the beats that you sent me this week, just to let you know.
Okay, Khan, yeah, take your time.
Okay, Khan. So with that, I'll say all praises, honor, and glory to the Most High God Yahweh, in the name of His only begotten Son, our Messiah, Yahweh Shai. Y'all have a
Salakia,
peaceful Sabbath. Go ahead, Ak.
Salakia. Uh, sister, I think just posted on there. Let me go back. She says she has a question.
Oh, Khan, it's too late, sis. I'm just playing. I'm just playing. I'm just playing.
Yeah, but
Go ahead, sis. Go ahead.
um, I was gonna say I think that's I forget her name on Instagram, but she posted a really dope story where she was talking about um Yahweh Shai when he cast he was making fishers of men and they were casting to the sea, talking about casting. It was a really dope post. I'll send it to you, Alex, so you can look at it. But I think that's her. She posted a really dope story. I'll share it with you.
Khan.
She said she can wait. I mean, we on here.
Oh, okay, okay. She said I can. No, I can wait. It's cool, sis. I was just playing. If you want to ask right now, if you want to wait till tomorrow, either way is good. It's funny that you say that though, because earlier I was thinking of some lyrics for that one beat, and that was one of the lines. It was something along the lines of like Yahweh Shai was the fisherman, and he reeled me into to you, or reeled me into Yahweh, something like that.
God, yeah, I'm gonna send you that. It's she was on point with it. Um, and I'll read it while she types that away. We'll wait for you. Um, she said Yahushua told his disciples that he will make them fishers of men, and then she brought out Matthew 4:18. Then Yahushua walking by the Sea of Galilee saw two brethren, Simon called Peter, and Andrew his brother, casting a net into the sea, for they were fishers. And he said unto them, follow me, and I will make you fishers of men. And so she broke down the verse, said they were casting, a net. So what did Yahushua do? He cast out demons, amongst other things. So he said, follow him. So they would be fishers of casting out, of demons, of men. So, and then bring them into the liberty of Yahushua. Also, sin no more and repent. So it was a pretty cool breakdown. So all praise to the Most High, because He uses all of us as vessels to bring it out. And I just thought it was really, really awesome that she brought that out that way.
Con, that's dope. But you know what? I'm GMS, so you shouldn't be teaching, sis. Nah, I'm just playing with you. I'm just playing. I'm just playing. Like the brother said, it says in Joel, and it says in the so-called New and Old Testament, right? It says in Joel 2, and it says in Acts 2 that the Most High is going to pour out His Spirit upon all flesh, right? So as long as you ain't out trying to teach in the streets and stuff like that, which I don't know if you've seen that one sister, there's a picture going around where the sister's teaching with a mic, and it looks like her husband or something's just standing guard behind her.
I have not seen that.
No, I'm gonna look for it tomorrow, and I'll try and send it to you. I was like, wow, totally out of order, right? Are women allowed to wear cotton thermal set? I mean, if it's 100% cotton, right? Oh well, you know what? Are you set by set? Do you mean like the pants too? Is that what you're getting at?
I believe so. I didn't know what that was, but I just Googled it and it's like the long sleeve and then the pant that goes with it.
Okay, so this is what I'm gonna say for that, right? If you're, I'm assuming, I believe you're not married. Is that correct? Correct, Doc? I think I had asked her before.
I'm not sure. Yeah, she says she's not.
Okay, Khan. So my daughters, my rib, anytime they go out anywhere, anytime anybody's around, anything like that, they have to be in a dress or a skirt, right? Now, when they're home, or say, like for example, if we do jujitsu and you have it's called a gi, right? And we rarely do that, but it's a gi. It's like some people think of like karate stuff like that, but in jujitsu it's a whole lot thicker. It's a real thicker material, like a hemp,
Mm-hmm.
a lot of times too. But anyways, long story short, for example, they can wear that when we're training or something. Or if we're here at the house, I'll let my rib. She can wear shorts or something like that, right? But when it comes to like jeans, um, a cotton thermal set like that, for me in my house, they would not be wearing anything like that out in public. Now, if you're home by yourself and it's a woman's attire, you know what I mean? Then that's up to you. You're gonna work out your own salvation. And you don't if you don't have a head, you don't have a husband telling you, okay, no, you can't wear that. That's not modest enough. No, this, that, or the other. Then that's on you, right? But what I would say is definitely out in public. I would say no because it's not modest, right? It's pants, aka breeches, and you could see the outline of everything. Okay, so she under the dress. So Khan, I don't see any problem with that. What would you say to that, if your rib or future rib asked you that
I would agree
under the
with the
dress?
same. I would say under the dress, and here's my line of reasoning. Um, just from me being a man, and living most of my adult life outside of the truth. Before coming in, I know how I used to think, and I can almost guarantee that the majority of men, even if they say they don't, are very lustful, you know, and you don't want to put yourself or put somebody else in that situation where, um, you're causing men to look at you in any type of way. Um, I couldn't see that logic prior coming to the truth, but coming into the truth and understanding how spirits work, um, you definitely don't want to put yourself in that situation, and you don't want to put other men in that situation where you're dressing in a way that is causing them to let their imagination, run wild, for lack of a better term, and that's just coming from a very sincere place where I know how it can be, especially if you're out in public, most definitely. But I would agree with the brother, if you're at home, um, that's definitely your call to make. I don't see anything wrong with it, as long as you're using discernment.
Con, I agree. And it's funny that you said that too about like your imagination. The majority of things that females wear that aren't in the truth, and some of them even in the truth, it leaves nothing up to the imagination if you really think about it, because
Mm-hmm.
you can see the outline of everything. You know what I mean?
Con.
And that's definitely going back to what the brother's saying. Leviticus 19, you don't want to be suffering sin upon anybody. Um, but at the same time, that's the reason why modest apparel is so important, especially in today's day and age. And that's how you be set apart. Like, think about it. How are you gonna be a sister in the truth, a daughter of Zion, a princess of the Most High, right? And then you're supposed to be set apart, but you look just like you did in the world, or you look just like all the other females that aren't in the truth, right? That's one of my biggest I wouldn't say pet peeves. That's one of the most vexing things to me. That and feminine men in this truth.
Con.
But with that, you want to add anything else, Ak?
No, you get the water, the water.
Okay, the water is always for helping, Ak. Appreciate you.
Most definitely, all praises to the Most High.
Khan. All praise to the Most High, Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai. Y'all have a peaceful Sabbath, and y'all get ready for a Day of Atonement if you are going to observe it, and I mean that more spiritually, right? Just think about. Actually, we'll go over that tomorrow as well, Locke. But it's a
Con.
holy convocation, right? It's a holy convocation, holy convocation. In other words, it's not a day you're gonna sit around and watch Netflix all day. That's not being holy, and that's not convocating, right? Just letting y'all know that, pointing that out. So get your spirit ready, your heart, and your mentality ready for that. But with that, I'll say all praise, honor, and glory to the Most High. Yahweh Ba'ashem Hamashiach Yahweh Shai. Shabbat Shalom, Ak, and to everyone watching.
Shabbat Shalom.